Group 5 movie project, campus safety. What should students be aware of? Our goal is to tell people what to do during severe situations, especially when it's something just happened in our campus lately.
This year, on the March 17th, a male student reported a robbery which took place on the second floor of the Bakai Village Community Center. So the suspect approached the student, implied he had a gun, and punched him in the face several times, and also take his computer and cell phones. Police respond to secure the area and inform the facilities while searching. Also on January 23rd, a female student reported that she was sexually assaulted in her residence hall. The female students reported that she met two males at the bar. Be alert and make smart choice. Walk with a friend or group of people when it's late, and focus on your surroundings, not just your phone or electronics. Also, remember, know your route and the quickest way to get help, and know the locations of emergency telephone. I recommend you can write down this phone number just in case, and you can also use the student safety service ride on and near campus. About how to request a safe ride, there are some information and the time, what's a question you need to know, and you can go through this. Next slide is some holiday and vacation tips. So remember to take items to home, lock all doors and windows, and disconnect electrical extensions. And record the serial numbers of your devices, and do not leave money, checks, ID, or credit cards in your room. If something is missing when you come back, remember to alert the police immediately. That for you to save your life. Um, Run, hide, and fight. You will know have an escape route and plan in mind. Leave your belongings behind. Keep your hands visible. And your second option should be to hide. Lock the door and shut off lights. Do not huddle together because it makes one easy target. Fighting is the last resort to be used only when your life is in a very dangerous situation. So attempt to fight with active shooter for 10 seconds and find an object to use as a weapon such as a fire extinguisher or chair. That all will save you. So hope we can all be safe for living on the campus. All the resources found below.
One thing that a college student should be aware of is drugs and alcohol. Speaking of the current situations, hundreds of thousands more of today college students are abusing prescription drugs than was the case in the early 1990s. And the number of students use marijuana daily has more than double the approximately 4%. According to a Columbia University study, almost half of full-time college students binge drugs and drink, and almost a quarter of those college students meet the medical definition of having a problem with substance abuse or a dependence. That is 3 times the rate of the general population. Using drugs and alcohol can cause many different impacts on students in university. This will be included in this presentation are impact on the brain's reward system, social activities, psychology, and financial. The first bad impact on the students is physical drugs are physical active substances that alter brain chemistry and physiology when introduced into the body. They alter brain chemistry and acting like brain chemicals in various ways. Some drugs, like marijuana, have chemical structures that mimic actual neurotransmitters and force the brain into active nerve cells. If a drug user's brain has been filled with neurotransmitters dopamine, for example, the individual will experience euphoria and intense pleasure. This activates a reward circuit in the brain, teaching the drug users to repeat drug use. As the individual continues to abuse drugs, the brain eventually adapts to extreme surge of dopamine by producing less of it, or by decreasing the number of dopamine receptors. Consequently, the user is compelled to continue abusing drugs. And second part, bad impact on the social activities and psychology. If students use drugs and alcohol, they will have trouble of studying and forgetting lectures of homework. Sometimes they will commit a crime or have an accident. In fact, the likelihood that someone will commit a crime, be a victim of a crime, or have an accident is higher when that a person is abusing drugs. Regardless of whether those drugs are medications and street drugs, abusing drugs and alcohol will also affect the psychology. Students will look for the drugs and alcohol even they know they have bad influence to their health. And the third influence is on the financial. Most college students spend much money on books and living. However, the cost of drugs and alcohol is very expensive. As a result, they will have less money for their study and even food. Here are some solutions to prevent abuse of drugs and alcohol. Many students use drugs and alcohol because of the large pressure from their study and peers. Some they can take up exercising, read a good book, volunteer with a needy, create something. Anything positive and relaxing helps take the mind off using drugs to relieve stress. Also, if these students have mental illness, they have to seek help from the professional treatment before it becomes abuse. Drug addiction is a dangerous and potentially fatal disease, but it can be treated. Understanding the science and the psychology behind addiction enables skills professionals to manage addiction and successfully treat it.
When socializing with people, either men or women, and acquaintances or strangers, some students end up having problems due to lack of consent. What is consent? Consent is lack and permission or agreement between both persons to do something together. As a student, especially international students, how should we fraternize between men and women? Interacting with people is one of the many ways that is effective of gaining information, friends, and lot more. However, can we distinguish between the people with good or bad intention? This issue happens to both men and women everywhere. Social media. Many students first meet through online social media such as Facebook and Twitter, which is why students should be more careful after their networking. There could be a lot of fraud or fight in the social media trying to trick the students, whether it is okay for men to be friends with women and vice versa. Solution: be careful when trying to contact a man or woman through online social media by observing their shared information and photos to verify if it is a valid profile. A man could pretend as woman, so the woman is man, so be careful with that. Next one would be intention. As students get to know people which are the same in gender or different, some tend to make a bad decision. Students would just follow the new people they meet without fully knowing them. Women tend to fall in trap, following men back to their home, and bad things could happen. How do we solve it? Get to know better the people who you just met before following them to any places they ask you. Not all the people who you just met have good intentions. Some of them might have bad intentions, so it is better to take precaution of that. Always be cautious with whoever you just meet through online or in the class until they earn your trust. Be careful when interacting with people in different gender and always know the limit. It is good to be friends with men or women, but it is better to be cautious at all times, as not all men or women are good.
In college, we are expecting to make friends from everywhere, but not few ended up into serious security problems. How should we students, especially international students, interact with people who met for the first time? I'd like to say be careful of what information that you had leaked to a stranger because that could be used to do some serious damage on and out of campus too. Correctly interacting with strangers is so important that it should not be something regionally when it could happen everywhere in real life. In this presentation, they will be shown and be discussed how to prevent it from happening. Many students are warm-hearted, but many are really careless about what they told to the people they had met for the first time or they help. And that's where everything wrong begins. Solutions. Students should be careful of what your topics are, help them as far as you could, learn to let go and leave it to the social workers. Chatting online seems pretty common these days, though you do not know what he or she looks like or what his or her intentions are. Solutions. Be sure to the one you are chatting with is safe and with no dangerous intentions to you. Do not easily go out with him or her because sometimes it would end up into events that you are definitely don't want to be a part of. It is people's nature to find out what's happening around them so they could get up and see what's happening. But something could happen in a dark place that nobody finds out. My mother, she got hit by a car once when she was driving, when it turns out to be a rock instead. She went to negotiate with the driver while the other man opened my mother's car and stole her purse. She bravely took her purse back in the end, though I think it was still too dangerous. Solutions. Be alert of your surroundings at all times, and if you got stolen, don't try to catch the thief by yourself. Call for help because he or she may have lethal weapons.